What's cracking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid techno, and we're back with some more Avinit. And I mean that both as in terms of a tune that is Avinit and the label as a proper name that is Avinit. So shout out to Acid Steve. I've reacted to a couple tracks on this label, including a couple by Steve. That's what we're going to do again. Big fan of this label, big fan of his tunes. So yeah, we're going to listen to An Abandoned Warehouse, which, you know, as someone who's been listening to techno for a long time, it just, you hear a phrase like that and you're like, oh, like, you get excited. You know what happens in abandoned warehouses. Techno parties do, squat parties do. So yeah, let's get to it. This is An Abandoned Warehouse on Avinit 7. Do we have, I want to see if we have a year. I don't think it shows it here. I'm going to check in a second. I'm going to guess this is like 2018 or 2019, but this is Avinit 7. Acid Steve, An Abandoned Warehouse, and while this is getting going, I will get a double check on the year. Good lord. There's like a huge piece of fluff on my stylus. Avinit 7 came out in 2018, yep. It was October though, so it's not quite 4 years ago yet. I like that syncopated end of the measure, along with the like kind of quick rising synth. And now we hear it needling in, right? Acid work is like forcing its way into the tune. Oh, I heard a pop. I heard it. I heard another pop. Like that high percussion coming in right there, giving the track some slide. So there's like that needling layer, but now there's like a gurgle, like curl on top of it. You don't need much more, right? Turntable, scratchy record, An Abandoned Warehouse, maybe some speaker cabinets, but in terms of the amount of material, the requirements are pretty limited. Again, love those end of measure transitions, and I like how the acid work is now sort of like feeling like one of those stretchy, like acid punk rock guitar riffs. It's interesting, a couple other tunes that he's done on this label, you know, made a point to list that Guy engineered the tune for him. It didn't list that on this one, so I'm going to say one or two things. Either it was the same setup and they just didn't have the space to list it, or Steve has been learning from the master to the point where, like, he can make bubbly acid techno that, like, is in that geezer sort of vein. So either way, it's dope. It's either a great collaboration again, or, like I said, like, Steve has been picking up some trade secrets, because it just has that bubbly, groovy feel. Like, and again, there's the high kind of chirping ones, then there's the lower, like, rumbling one below it, right? Oh, speaking of which, un momento, por favor. again, it's like, I mentioned in another tune I think that I did by him, it's like, there's like live wires on the ground or something, where it's like, electrical synapses are like sparking with electricity while we're waiting for the return. I like that, like, intense but kind of washed out snare roll and this rising like jet synth. Oh my god, euphoric, wicked acid techno. It's got like some bite, it's got an edge, but it's also just like warm and groovy. And again, like the deeper acid layer and the higher layer, they're like parallel. They're kind of doing this very similar thing, heading in the same direction. So they kind of like have this chord like texture together. And then up top it's like, these are all official noises. And now the real like warbly kind of feel. But you hear the really high one, right? It's light, but it's like a light scream over the top. Another pop. I fucking love this track, but I didn't realize there like at least 3 audible pops over the course of the tune. I've been caning it a bit too frantically, like, get the fuck on the table, I'm playing you right now.
I managed to get inside the building and open this while I shut the door.
Oh. Bubbling and rolling. Right now, that particular acid riff, I feel like this could mix well with the DDR and Geezer, what is it, Sausage remix of Acid Ted and Cyber Steve's Sound System banger. They did like it's on Wawa X, which I guess was like Wawa's remix label, but I think there's only one of them. Anyway, I think that would mix, the beginning of that would mix well with the end of this. I do notice that sometimes when I'm mixing tracks that like I start picking up on a vibe that like, ooh, it's got a very similar sort of sonic DNA profile to this other tune, and I start thinking like, oh, I have to do a mix where, you know, I blend from one into the other. So that was my thought right there. I do also think there's what's it called? I'm trying to remember the label. It's a Russian label. Stompin' Ground, that's right. There's some tunes on that label that I think were done, I think it's either Draft Punk in conjunction with Draft Punk in conjunction with Geezer, I think. But there's a couple tunes on that label, like Constantly Rotating, and there's another one on the Purple record from that label. But there's a couple on that label that I think could fit well with this too. So yeah, I may have to do a mix where I sort of try to, you know, capture a bunch of tracks that have a similar vibe as this one. But like I said, I'm a big fan of Acid Steve's tunes, big fan of his label. Cool guy too, you know, I've interacted with him a little bit more on Facebook in recent times because he saw one of the reactions that I did, so shout out to him, you know, for supporting the videos, and, you know, I'm here supporting the label. So like I said, since I started doing these videos, especially in techno, it's been very enjoyable because it's really like I'm trying to cast the spotlight on labels and artists and tunes that I'm fond of and I think deserve to be talked about and frankly purchased, so copies of the record aren't just sitting on a shelf somewhere but are in fact being played on turntables. But it has come back to me too, where a lot of these producers, both in acid techno and hardcore especially, have been very supportive of what I'm trying to do. So it's just been a really enjoyable thing. Let me know if you're a fan of the label. Let me know if you like this track. Let me know if there's another one on here. There's one Andy Newbury under his other name, Pest Control. I've since discovered that he is Rats on Acid, and I've talked to him about some tunes that he's made. But maybe we'll have to come back for one of the ones that he's done under the Pest Control name. So let me know if you'd like to hear that. Let me know if there's anything else in this label that I haven't reacted to yet that you'd like to see reacted to. As I mentioned, like Cult of Acid I did, and what was the other one that I did? There was another one that I did too. It was Hello Officer. So yeah, I've reacted to a couple. And again, I just love the sound of Steve's tunes and this label. So hopefully you do too. Thank you for listening and watching. I do appreciate you. Have a good day. Have a good night. I'll see you next time. Peace.